Please allow me to bring up before you the true problem that is undermining any political solution to the question of the Sahara. This, in my humble opinion, is of a neighboring country to Morocco, which, it seems, I cannot name at the very risk of being interrupted. My colleagues who were present here last year warned me to be very careful. Some of them fell victims to this attitude, which is at the very least incomprehensible. They were interrupted because they dared to say the truth and hit a raw nerve. They were prevented from speaking because they named this country, while a portion of their families is confined on their territory. So the question is the following: how can we unmask the belligerent policies of this country without citing its name? But it is my duty to speak of this because
I have a request for the point of order, which I am obliged to grant. I give the floor to Algeria.
J'aimerais savoir.
I would like to know. I would like to recall the position of a petitioner in the context of the work of the Fourth Committee. The petitioner has been authorized by the member states in the Fourth Committee to provide their point of view, first of all, and second of all, to express their personal point of view. In that regard, they need to respect the parameters within which they have been authorized to speak, and to speak only on the item on which they have been authorized to speak. In that regard, Mr. Chairman, I would reiterate my humble request that the rules of procedure be followed, or we should have the legal advisor here to explain to us or to recall to us the role of a petitioner. We request that petitioners refrain from speaking or that they speak only on the items for which they have been authorized to speak on before this committee. So once again, Mr. Chairman, Algeria is not the question under discussion. It is the Western Sahara. This is the agenda item. I would therefore ask you, in your capacity as chair, to implement the rules of procedure, to follow them. We do not want to intervene each and every time. You should be following the rules of procedure, which are very clear. I would ask, Mr. Chairman, for the rules of procedure to be respected, and I ask this formally. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I give the floor to Morocco.
Mr. Chairman, my Algerian colleague just said it himself. The petitioners have been authorized by this committee, by all member states, and not by Algeria itself. Algeria does not have veto rights over the work of this committee. If we're going to continue with this charade, I think then this would set a very dangerous precedent for the work of this committee, and it would prevent petitioners from coming back to speak before this committee, because it would seem they do not have the right to express their opinion and to make their voice heard. This is what happens in autocracies. This is what happens in dictatorships, and that's what's happening here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Before giving the floor to Algeria, I have to say that Chair will have no problem to suspend the meeting once again, because we are once again back to the situation where we were 30 or 15 minutes before. I can only repeat to what I've said. Chair is bounded by the rules of procedure. Rules of procedure of General Assembly are clear, and the only way to deal with them is to honor them. Whenever member states request the floor upon the point of order, member state will be given the floor. That is the rule. It is not difficult to envisage the circumstances under which the floor shall be requested once again. Now it's 4 o'clock. At 6 o'clock, no matter what, the meeting will be adjourned, because we have to adjourn due to different rules. So I will now give the floor to Algeria. I suppose that after that, Morocco will request the floor, yes. And then, if I will see that we are not moving forward, I will suspend the meeting. That's chair's prerogative. But the only thing the chair can do at this moment, besides suspending the meeting, is to appeal to those who speak, to be mindful of what I've said, and to speak in a fashion that shall, on one hand, provide their very important views to be heard, but in a fashion that shall enable meeting not to be interrupted. I give the floor back to Algeria.
Once again, Mr. Chairman, I don't want to get into the substance as my Moroccan colleague has done. I am not asking for the floor on a matter of substance. If I want to talk on substance, I will have an opportunity to do this later in our debate. But my question is of a procedural nature. No one is preventing a petitioner from speaking, but they need to be speaking on the item for which they have been authorized to speak here today. That is the central message that I'm trying to convey. Again, this is not on a matter of substance. It is a procedural matter. Algeria is not on our agenda. Once again, yet again, the agenda item is the question of Western Sahara, and petitioners should speak only on this topic. They can talk about the Tindouf camps. This is their right. To speak of Algeria, that is another matter entirely. That is not on our agenda. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Noted. Before giving floor back to Morocco, we had, I think, if I can recall, 133 petitioners on the list that we have approved 2 days ago. I gaveled the list of petitioners, and no one objected it. So all the petitioners on the list are entitled to speak. They are entitled to speak on the agenda item. And what has been said is noted. The chair cannot anticipate what petitioner is going to say. But, I repeat once again, if request for the point of order is put forward, it is my duty to grant it. Morocco, please.
Thank you, Chairman. And I apologize to members of the committee from the Mediterranean countries in this room. We have talked about the questions of procedure in this room, and it is your responsibility as chair of this committee to organize the conduct of the meeting and to ensure that there are no abuses of the rules of procedure in this room. And if you do note them, to stop the proceedings. You do not need to give the floor to a delegate on a point in order of order every single time, particularly if that delegate is being abusive or abusing their position. The Tindouf camps are located in Algeria, and Algeria is a party to the conflict. Algeria is the one that created this conflict. Thank you.
When it comes to requests for the point of order, yes, I do. As a chair, I have to grab the floor no matter how many times it's been requested. And as a chair, I have no right of discretion to decide how many points of order a certain member state in this universal body of United Nations can request. You, sir, can request 50 times point of order, and I will give you 50 times point of order. I'm telling you this as a lawyer. So, from that point of view, I am in no position to deprive member states of their rights under the rules of procedure. When it comes to the substance, it is not chair's discretion to tell those who will speak what is about them to speak. I can only appeal to speakers, to deliver their statements in a substance and a fashion that shall enable uninterrupted meeting. We can try it once again. We can continue with debate. I hope that all that has been said is being carefully noted. If we shall not be able to continue, then I will suspend the meeting once again, and then I will consult with the members of Bureau how to proceed further. I'm sorry, but this is the only way to do. Chair is the guardian of the rules of procedure of the General Assembly. That's his primary duty. The last speaker was, Krista, remind me, please.
Mr. Kino Dial, I think.
Yes, Mr. Dino.
Kino.
I apologize for misinterpretation. Mr. Kino Dial, I will grant him 45 seconds because that's the time that was still left on the clock, with a sincere hope that we can continue without interruptions. You have the floor, sir.
أشكرك سيد مع أن
45 seconds are not enough to complete the text I was about to read. But I would like to say something. I was born in Tindouf camps. And I spent 26 years in Tindouf. And I studied in all Algerian universities. And I know the situation there. I know very well that Algeria and the Algerian government, Algerian state, is an important part in the question of the Sahara, especially regarding the formulating the policies of Polisario, which has affected me. علينا أقاطعك بدون سرور.
From the day one, it is not my pleasure to do that, but I have to continue because we all agree, and I gavelled the 3-minute rule 2 days ago. So I give now the floor to Mr. Gisli Björnsson.
Mr. Chair, I'm honored. In recent years, we've heard about Morocco exploiting natural resources in Sahara, which is actually misleading the public opinion and deviating from the facts and the reality on the ground. Before being misled by this allegation, one should be aware of the correlation between the existing natural resources in Sahara and Morocco's economic competitiveness, and then of how much of the locals contribute to empower Sahara region, as well as the ongoing efforts and action taken by Morocco to boost Sahara's region. History also speaks for itself. When Morocco recovered Sahara from Spain, the region was facing a number of social and economic deficits that have been overcome. This development process is still continues. When it comes to fisheries, Morocco is blessed with both Atlantic and Mediterranean large coasts that provides for rich fishing grounds representing one of its major industries. Moreover, the fisheries agreement concluded between Morocco and the European Union does not exclude Sahara in its implementation. It is considered legal by EU foundations and international